The College Baseball Experience 2023 bracket reaction show and analysis episode on the College Baseball Experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Baseball Experience 2023 bracket reaction and analysis episode. Oh, it is great to be here. We got a sport with a real playoff, and I'm excited to break it down. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Dant, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
You are going to pay for it. Good night. You know, I'm excited. I know I've been traveling. I haven't got as much time to hop on with this next guy and talk college baseball, because I had to spend 24 days in another part of the world, another continent. All right. I think that's what they call those things. Continent. Is that a university that's in this tournament? I'm not sure. I am joined by he's the heartbeat behind this show. You know, he does everything. Talks MLB, talks college baseball, college basketball, but he has just been holding it down while old Pick Dundee was in the land down under. Give it up for host of the College Basketball Experience, host of the MLB Gambling Podcast, host of the College Baseball Experience. Give it up for Noah Bieniek. How you doing, brother?
How's it going, Colby? I don't know if I'm the host of the College Basketball Experience. I'll just say behind the scenes or just producer or whatever. But
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying.
I know.
You got to build it up. You know what I mean? Like that's you
but
see this.
That's you and Mac on the College Basketball Show. I'll just take behind the scenes. That's good enough too.
There was plenty of episodes. Or my birthday, I missed an episode. You and Mac held it down. You hosted. There was a couple of times Mac was out and you came on, and boom, we had it going.
I feel like the conversation should be on this. This is the first time we've had you on in like a month on this podcast. You've been down in South America. How was your trip?
Oh man, look, it was fun. I got an opportunity to teach triple option football to 30 kids. So 30 Colombian kids. I got to teach triple option football. You know, it's never a bad thing, but look, subscribe to the College Football Experience if you want to hear all about that as we break down every team over there. But this is the College Baseball Experience. They don't give a shit about my travel plans, and I don't blame them. All right. But right now we want to talk about.
They're all making their travel plans right now.
Yeah, they're making their travel plans for Omaha, baby. And I mean, including my East Carolina Pirates. So look, I'll be honest, because I had to travel to a different continent, you know, for 24 days, I did not get the opportunity to watch as much college baseball as I normally do.
You mean you don't get cable networks and to watch college baseball?
I believe it or not, I was able to find a couple games.
ESPN Plus comes in handy sometimes.
Yes. Now it was hard convincing a party of 40 people to turn off the Colombian soccer game and put on some college baseball, but I did accomplish it at one point. But as an East Carolina fan, if folks don't know, because I've been gone for a month here. I was watching closely as we're playing Tulane in the AAC championship, and Tulane, I think they're 18-30 or something as their record, right? It's something terrible. And I'm sitting there and coming into it, I saw, some bracket projections saying, hey, if Tulane was to upset East Carolina, that would knock out NC State. So I got to be honest. I was sitting there being like, as an ECU fan, I was like, you know what? Go fucking Green Wave. Go Green Wave. Fuck NC State. Right. But, it didn't happen. NC State's in the tournament. And what did happen as far as Tulane beating ECU. And, I'd rather get that loss out of the way. You see that in college basketball all the time. Get that 100%. Loss out of the way because we want to go into it. But what'd you make of that scenario? And what'd you make in general before we go like region by region? What'd you make of just 10 SEC teams, you can go 2 AAC teams, which I know AAC had a bad year and a lot of people are probably like, what the fuck? But what'd you make of in conference by conference? How many seeds, who got robbed, which conference got robbed, you thought?
So you mentioned Tulane, and they have the most losses ever by an NCAA tournament team to get into the field. And I think people that were talking about NC State possibly missing was basically more in satire, basically because last year they were like a projected 2 seed. They were not even supposed to be on the bubble, and they missed the entire tournament last year. So I think that was more, a
sympathy play,
a little bit of a joke. But the conference that I thought got screwed this year was the Big West. They only got one, which was their auto bid in Fullerton, who won the regular season. They don't have a conference tournament. And the 2 teams that were like left on the doorstep were UC Irvine and UCSB. Both of them had just as good talent. And I think they had made some noise against Arizona earlier this season, where Arizona was kind of the team that everybody was circling that didn't really belong. And I don't know if they belonged either. They were 12-18 in Pac-12 play, usually a 12-18 record in the SEC, which is, the hands down baseball conference in the country. A 12-18 team in the SEC doesn't get in. So a team that won 3 more games in the Pac-12, they finished in the Pac-12 tournament. They finished with 15 total Pac-12 wins, 19 losses. I still don't think it was a good enough resume to get in, even though they were the 40th RPI team. So if we have any more additions, I mean, we can bring them up when teams come along through our preview here.
Let me ask you something. So Cameron Kerr, our graphics guy, and folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, youtube.com /the college experience. I was curious what, for the photo essentially that you're going to see if you're on YouTube or on sportsgamblingpodcast.com, or you can get the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store, but is an Arizona Wildcat. And was that directed by you, or is he just,
I told him to do that. Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering because I thought,
figured,
hey, maybe he's rooting
you
for
see
the Wildcats.
You see the graphic on YouTube, maybe somebody else clicks on it and they'll hear that talk about Arizona in the first 8 minutes, because I don't know if they really belong. But if we have anything else to add, I'll probably think of something on the fly and mention it. But
yeah, so 10 SEC teams, 8 ACC teams, 6 Big 12, 5 Pac-12, 4 Sun Belt, 3 Big 10, 2 AAC,
your
2 Big East.
Your 10th SEC team that kind of backdoored their way into this tournament was Texas A&M. They went 4-2 in the SEC tournament and kind of
finagle their way in.
Yeah.
Cam Kerr, the graphics guy, is an A&M graduate, so I'm sure he's happy about that. But also 2 in the Conference USA, 2 in the CAA, and the rest just 1 bid each. All right, look, before we hop into our reaction on all of these, and shout out to the chat. I see the chat rolling along. Moneyline Ed says, I cannot wait for Friday. Graham says, let's fucking go. And Moneyline Max saying the Lexington region equals bring your toothbrush and air mattress region. Yes.
We'll talk about that.
And I see Starvin Hagler, great name, saying Columbia has some great talent. Let's go. Look, appreciate the chat rocking along, and we're going to be here all postseason as the road to Omaha heats up. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube and wherever podcasts are found. But look, before we get to breaking down each region, I want to tell you folks out there that the college baseball experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, This episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Yes, Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely an extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down on some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. You don't have to worry about the wife. Hey, you threw this much money into an account. You can do it on the hush. All right. You can do it on the hush. So double down on your favorite bet you like, or even, use, to create an awesome middle or hedge opportunity. Maybe you got a future on NC State and you say, well, there's no way this pretender is going to do anything. Well, there's an opportunity to hedge. So I know it's gross because look, we believe on SGPN you go all in, but with NC State, you got to know these guys never win anything in life.
It comes in handy if you have a $10 bet on like a 25 to 1 ticket and you're about to win about 2K, go ahead and jump in Edge Boost, put about 1,000 into that account and jump on the other team if they get there. So
yeah. Exactly. It's zero interest. All right. This isn't some sleazy loan shark that, Jimmy 2 times up. I got to meet him at the back of the fucking bar in the alley. No. All right. Zero interest. Your kneecaps are going to be safe. And let me tell you, I can't think of any other places that won't charge you zero interest. So I think you should hop in on this. Support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with the gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And remember, folks, as always, to let it ride. All right. We are back on the college baseball experience. And yes, NC State guys, come on. How many Super Bowls did Phillip Rivers ever win? Just saying there's a reason. It's not because he couldn't complete the forward pass. It's where he went to college. All right. We got out the gate, the Winston-Salem Regional. And Russell Wilson only won because he went to Wisconsin, FYI. All right. He transferred out. He recognized, that, he was about to be a born loser. All right. So look, here we got the Winston-Salem Regional. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this sweet ass graphic that looks like it's from a fucking newspaper from the 1940s. What's with the black imagery? I feel like we're looking at like Area 51 shots or something.
Shout out to Cameron Kerr.
Okay. Shout out to him. He's a Texas A&M guy. So he was partying all weekend and probably did not get to fire away on the graphics there. But look,
it's actually just like a darkened baseball field. You can see the foul line.
Doesn't it look like infrared though? Like we're watching a war happen, I'm not the color part, but like the black and white part. Like if a person's walking, you bomb them, it looks like you're looking at the infrared fucking satellite imagery. But, anyway, here we are, the number 1 seed Wake Forest, man, the Demon Deeks. I watched that Notre Dame game. Whew. I thought Notre Dame was going to pull it off for a second there, but man, so they are the 1 seed and they're taking on. Oh, they're taking on my George Mason Patriots. Start your fucking football program, guys. Look, this George Mason, I grew up close to George Mason University. I see them just with unbelievable odds. You might just want to sprinkle some. I've watched, believe it or not, I've watched a good amount of George Mason baseball this year. Good
Shout
amount
out
of
to NC Nick.
Yes, shout out to NC Nick, a graduate of George Mason, and as much as I want to take them because I like their university, I've watched a good enough amount where I know not to bet on George Mason. But they are the 4 seed. The 2 seed is the Maryland Terrapins, and the 3 seed is Northeastern out of the CAA from Boston, Massachusetts. Talk to me about that region there in Winston-Salem, Noah. I mean, is this just chalk city with Wake Forest? We know, Tom Walter, ACC Coach of the Year. They got a slew of I feel like their team has got I love the bats. When I was watching the games the other day, the bats were hitting, every time they got down 3-4 runs, not a problem. Not a problem the next inning. So, and I know they lost to Miami the next day, but still, talk to me about Wake Forest.
Yeah. So last year, Wake Forest, they were a 2 seed. They traveled to College Park where Maryland was a 1 seed. The Terps won that regional last year, but the rules are reversed between the 2 teams this season. And Northeastern is a quality 3 seed there from the Colonial this year. They earned in a large bid. But for you, it's the Wake Forest Bats. I love the arms here. They have 4 starting pitchers in Rhett Lauder, Josh Hartle, Seth Keener, and Sean Sullivan, who are absolutely outstanding. And the rotation and explosive offense dominate the narratives for the Deeks, but their closer Cam Manassi has been stellar this season with 12 saves, a 2.93 ERA. And then when you're looking down here, like the Patriots, they've won 18 of the last 24 games, 34 total wins this season under their first year head coach, Sean Camp. That's the most wins for Mason since 2014. Maryland, 100. Yeah, Maryland 123 home runs this season. That they're second in the country in the long ball. So that's one thing to watch because David F. Couch Ballpark is a shoebox. So it's favorable to long ball. And then Maryland and Northeastern played earlier this season. The Huskies won 9-2 in a midweek game on May 9th.
Confidence.
And the Deeks, they have the number 1 team ERA in the country at 2.82. Northeastern's second best at 3.57. But I mean, there's a huge gap between 1 and 2 there.
I see Lane Elliott in the chat here, and by the way, my mother, a Maryland graduate, so I'm kind of split here. You got NC Nick Mason, you got Maryland, and then obviously Wake Forest.
Buzzsaws.
Yeah. But Lane Elliott in the chat says that Maryland line is like minus 135 on DK. Is Northeastern really that good? And I think you kind of answered this already with Northeastern winning the head-to-head matchup. But he says, I thought Maryland was a pretty solid team.
Fun fact about Northeastern too, their head coach is Mike Glavin, and he's the younger brother to Tom Glavin. So, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
The ace of the staff.
Do we get the younger brother to John Rocker in this tournament?
I don't know. The ace of this Huskies staff though is Avon Cabral, and he's 9-3 with a 2.26 ERA. So I'd actually like the other way around on this one. I like the plus money with the Huskies here. Early looks on the opening lines. We'll talk about the game ones on Thursday. Tomorrow we'll do our bracket picks.
Folks, just so you know, college baseball experience every single day this week, essentially until Friday, until these bats are swinging. All right.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna do daily picks on the weekend.
Oh, there we go. So all the way until okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Like every day there's a game.
The land out under, buddy. All right. Forgot about Saturday and Sunday's action. We're gonna have shows every day. Subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. Tell your friends and. All right. Yeah. I mean, look, I love that Northeastern angle, knowing that they've already had the confidence to beat Maryland. Now, I get it. You could say the revenge angle. The Terps, were in the tournament a year ago. They got the experience factor. But kind of like the fact they've already won once. So, and then obviously you got to take George Mason just because, it's George Mason, but, just sprinkle a little bit.
So we could see a George Mason, Maryland losers bracket matchup here
fantastic. Separated by like 20 miles. Absolutely fantastic. That's what college sports are about. Stop fucking with our sports TV execs. All right. We don't want to see Hawaii in the Big Ten. All right. We do not want to see that. Lane Elliott says there's no one else I even know that kind of that gives away these breakdowns. All right. And he says, you guys rule. There we go.
Yeah. To answer Graham's question here. So the format, I mean, it's a 4-team. So the regionals are 4-team double elimination pool. Probably could have mentioned this at the top of the episode. And then the winner of the 4-team double elimination pool from the weekend advances to the super regional round, which is then a best of 3 series the following week. And then after the super regional round, the final 8 teams go to Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series, where they're split up into 2 double elimination pools, the left side of the bracket and the right side of the bracket, those 4 teams. And then the winner of those double elimination pools then go back to the super regional format, a best of 3 in the College World Series.
Okay, there we go. I think you explained it for Graham, who says, I'm a Canadian. I'm incredibly unfamiliar with college baseball. Get familiar, and I guarantee you, and I've argued this for a long time. If you invest in college baseball, the return is tenfold. You know what I mean? Like it is the more you invest, the more you're going to enjoy the sport, in my opinion. And the more you try to understand it, the better it is. And obviously seeing, magical magical runs in these tournaments has been a storyline for a while. So, all right. Well, look, that's in Winston-Salem. Now, here's something do you worry that Wake Forest just, they have one of the smallest enrollments. I think it's like 2,500 people or something. Do you worry about that at all? Is that an advantage for, Mason, Northeastern, and the Terps?
No, I don't really worry about it too much. And actually, I think it's better for Wake Forest because there's the narrative that the number 1 overall seed hasn't won the College World Series since 1999. Then you get your fan base like just all up in arms worrying about that. And really, there's been less chatter about that this year than there ever has before, in my opinion. So yeah, Wake Forest, I don't think it's going to bother them, but I think we've spent like 7 minutes on this regional alone.
Yeah. Okay. Look, we're going to hop over to talk Tuscaloosa, Alabama here in a second, but I want to tell you that we're brought to you by the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Final Contest. What are you doing on the screen over? Okay, I got you.
I'm messing with the thing.
Yeah, there you go. Look, we've got 2 more free contests for the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals. You can enter exclusively on the SGPN app. Series props and game props. $100 SGPN gift card up for grabs for each contest. So download the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. We're not trying to steal your money, and enter it today for your shot at winning money. And winning money always, studies say that winning money leads to your chances of having more sex. So that's always good. All right. That's always good.
I've gotten the green light from the bosses too, that we'll host a bracket pool if we can find a site that'll let us do that. So,
well, we're working on it. We're working around the clock. What's that? Yes, we're working around the clock. Here we go. Let's go to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Where?
Yeah, I'm losing sleep around that clock too. I've been working for a week and a half straight on this college baseball stuff.
There you go. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I love this stuff.
Going to sleep at 6 a.m. That's awesome.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, look, the Tuscaloosa Regional. I mean, obviously, the elephant in the room here. The Alabama Crimson Tide, everyone's favorite team this year. I feel like, obviously their scandal with their betting, firing their coach, fantastic. In Ohio, I mean, the more I dive into that story, the more ridiculous I find it, because there was only like $200 on that game that they got caught on elsewhere. Anyway, so the 1 seed, the Alabama Crimson Tide, 40-19. They were an at-large bid out of the SEC, and the Crimson Tide are 10-4 since Jason Jackson was named interim head coach. Who knew? This is all set up. Maybe they wanted the other guy out of here. They're like, hey, let's get Jason Jackson in there. Alabama's 16-14 record in the SEC play marks the first time the Tide has finished above 500 in league play for the first time since 2014. All that football money bleeding over into their basketball program, and literally bleeding, as you know, that scenario that happened there. But honestly, their athletic department is killing it here. Alabama's 9-2 in regionals that they've hosted in program history. What's up?
They're killing it.
Well, no, I mean, look, I'm not trying. I said that without knowing, and then I realized as I was saying that I was like, well, it's actually kind of been true. But and look, thoughts and prayers with the victim, obviously. But there is that theory that Lane Elliott references, and I believe in that theory. I have a theory. If you've listened to me on the college football experience, or the college basketball experience, or really any sport, I haven't looked into like soccer, but no, even soccer. I feel like what believe
about that college lacrosse thing that was just going on. I think it was today. They just had their championship. I think Notre Dame won it.
That's what I'm saying. Crime pays. Crime fucking pays is my theory. You can go back to the Miami teams in the 80s, the Dallas Cowboy teams. You look at Georgia. Georgia's like fucking got Days of Thunder going on, or fucking Gone in 60 Seconds. There's someone, going 500 miles an hour every week getting arrested. Crime pays. I believe in that theory. So maybe we should just blindly back the Crimson Tide here. But you got Nichols State, they say. I thought they were trying to get rid of the state. I thought it was going to just Nichols. But the Colonels are making
their websites still say Nichols State, so they haven't eliminated them themselves.
Well, some of those websites. Look, as a guy that loves college athletics, and I'll dive into like the websites. Some of them a little late to update. But the Colonels,
or they're just not paying the domain to update it.
The Colonels are the 4th seed. They'll be taking on Alabama, and they're making their 4th regional appearance all time and their first since 1998. Noah Bieniek, what were you doing in 1998?
I wasn't even born yet.
Man, they haven't. Look, Nichols hasn't made it since Limp Bizkit was successful. Nichols has the 30th best team ERA in the country. Whew. Flying under the radar, perhaps, are the Colonels. So the 2-3 seeds are Boston. You got Boston College, who this Boston College team has been a fun story. They were terrible a year ago, and now 35-18, 35 overall wins, second most in Golden Eagle or BC Eagle history, including 16 wins in the ACC play. I know ACC is a conference on the verge of hitting the iceberg from their football point of view, and they're probably wondering, football and basketball, the real money makers. BC, can you please field a decent team? Well, BC finally calls them, said, how about our baseball team? How about our baseball team, baby? But they're in the tournament for the first time since 2016. Who knows? Maybe the Eagles can fly high in Tuscaloosa. And then you have the Troy Trojans, obviously Troy, located in the state of Alabama, 39-20. They're in the Sun Belt or from the Sun Belt. They got an at-large bid. And Troy, they were a bubble team, right? They were a bubble team that got in, and the pitching staff is fantastic, right? Isn't that the storyline with the Trojans, Noah?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, in a little over 487 innings, they are striking out. They've struck out 587 batters, averaging 10.7 strikeouts a game, and that's 12th in the nation. And Troy, Grayson Stewart is an amazing frontline starter for Troy. He's 9-2 with a 3.55 ERA. The Trojans have a nice closer as well in Noah Manning. He has 11 saves with a 3.40 ERA, and then Shane Lewis. He's tied for third in the country with 27 home runs. He's hitting 291 with an 11.75 OPS. And then they're going to be facing Boston College, like you mentioned. They have a good frontline starter in Chris Flynn too. He's 7-3 with a 4.21 ERA, 10.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. The offense took a little bit of a hit for BC as they lost Travis Honeyman in late April, and they're just 6-4 without him. Joe Vitrano is the big healthy bat in the lineup right now with a 3.05 average and 18 home runs. But I don't really favor the Eagles much this weekend at all. So I like Troy just in general in that first game over BC, I think. And then for Alabama, the top seed in this regional, they have 3 healthy starters right now in Luke Holman, Jacob McNary, and Garrick McMillan, who all have ERAs below 4.10, which in my opinion gives them the confidence and a great chance to win at least 3 games in a weekend against any team. And then Nichols, they have a stud freshman in Jacob Myers, who's been an absolute stud on the mound for the Colonels this season. He's 9-1 with a 1.93 ERA, 97 strikeouts in 70 innings, and his opponents are only hitting 176 against him. Offensively, they don't really hit for big power, but a guy to keep an eye on is all-conference outfielder in Zane Washington, who's hitting 379 with a 10.32 OPS and 16 stolen bags. So it's going to be a fun little Alabama regional, of course. We have 3 teams down there.
You know what I'm rooting for, right?
What are you rooting for here?
As much as I like BC's story, I love it when you get the in-state battles. I want to see Troy going up against Big Brother with an opportunity to say "fuck you." Yes,
the committee did a great job at giving us some in-state or regional battles this year. I really liked. That was one thing that I didn't really complain about too much. Is like you can pick at a couple of teams that just kind of feel like they were misplaced, but ultimately they're trying to limit travel as much as possible, and they did really good at that.
Thank you. Hey, college football, please take notes because we want to see these. I love the opportunity to see, Troy's got guys all over their team that probably weren't recruited by Alabama that wanted to play at Alabama.
Exactly.
Oh, give us that matchup.
Do you like the touch that we added on the graphic too? The odds, it's plus Bohannon because they don't get offered anymore.
That is great. Maybe you can, maybe you got a guy. Maybe you got a guy in the alley you can place a wager on. All right. I'm looking
Yeah,
at you, the great people in the state of Alabama. Come on, let's do this. No, but come on, man, you got to jump on Troy. You got just because if they're able to beat BC, which I know BC has been good this year.
Yeah.
I just think that little brother angle, if they can play Bama, would be something Bama's trying to avoid. I get it. BC's been the better team than Troy, but I feel like if you're a Bama fan, you want BC, right? Am I crazy?
Oh, for sure. I think that would be a better draw for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we'll get to our picks tomorrow, but I'm curious what you think of that BC future. You know,
Shaking my head at it. I don't know if I like it.
Okay. Now here's the thing: Tuscaloosa will be lit for that one. I don't give a shit who's coaching. I don't care how many scandals are happening. This is SEC, all right? Scandals are part of the blood. All right. That place will be bonkers. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's hop on over and talk about Coral Gables. No one shows up to these fucking games, right? This is Miami, but
I think Texas is going to travel. They might try to outshow the Hurricanes fan base here.
Oh, I guarantee you they will too. They came to Greenville to represent last year pretty well.
They did.
Alex
ECU kind of flooded the place, but I guess the Longhorns.
There were some assholes there, right? Some Texas assholes showing up.
Assholes.
You know, folks, you got to understand my history of hating the University of Texas. All right, so my apologies, but they've earned it in my opinion. Coral Gables Regional, Alex Rodriguez Park. All right.
He never actually went to Miami, by the way. Did you know that? They named it after a guy that didn't go there.
That's fucking great.
It's awesome.
It's great. Jennifer Lopez not allowed in. Look, storyline behind Coral Gables here that I'm interested in is that these four teams have totaled 71 trips to Omaha.
It's nuts.
Woo! Woo! The 1 seed is the Miami Hurricanes. They have 25 College World Series appearances. That's a lot. The 2 seeds, the Texas Longhorns, and they have 38 appearances. Obviously, they're filthy whores. And,
most all time.
Yeah. Everything about them is terrible. I don't care. You could say Roger Clemens went there. I don't give a shit. All right. We don't like Texas. Horns down on this pod, unless they win us money. The 3 seed is Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. Yes, let's go. And we got the Maine Black Bears. The
Cocaine Bears, the original.
I love me some Maine Black Bears.
Both Miami and Maine have the same baseball logo, by the way, too. It's an old English M.
I have problems with that. Yeah, I have problems with anyone that phones it in uniform wise. We're seeing this in like I don't know. Well, like the XFL was just a thing before, and they like the Seattle team just completely stole Florida A&M's logo. Just stop being fucking lazy. All right, just do something original. And so I guess I can't root for Maine or Miami, right? I feel like now I just got to go with the Raging Cajuns because they're one of the best names in all of college sports. I can't root for Texas. So I might have to go with Maine, just even though they're unoriginal, because I'm not a Texas Longhorn fan, and Miami, I can't get behind their fan base. I understand they're 28-5 at Mark Light Field this season, and I understand they've been hitting pretty damn good. I think top 40 as a team, and 7th in the nation in home runs, 41st in runs in general. I mean, I watched that Wake Forest game, kind of sold that Miami's legit as a threat to win this thing, but I don't like rooting for them. Talk to me. Why should I just swallow my pride and root for the Hurricanes?
Oh, I don't know if I'm sold on Miami either. I was talking about it all ACC tournament, how the offense just kind of like it was doing just enough to get by. And I haven't been a full believer in the rotation all season long. They just added Carson Ligon back from injury, and he's been their better pitcher for most of the season. But so that one kind of surprised me, the game that he pitched. I got burned on that with some money on the other side. But the trio of Gage Zeal, Alejandro Torres, and Carson Ligon all have mid-4s ERA. If and when any of those guys put together a good start and the pen holds up, they can hand the ball to the best closer in the country, and Andrew Walters. He has 11 saves on the season with a 1.08 ERA. That's where you can believe into this team. And then they have a star third baseman in Yohandy Morales, who leads the Canes lineup with a 4.05 average, 61 RBIs, and 16 home runs. So if you're looking for a reason why to back Miami, it's Yo-Yo Morales and Andrew Walters.
Disgusting. I don't like backing them. Let's talk about Maine, who they're playing out of the AE. And Maine, they have 83 home runs this season. Yeah, that's a record. They broke a record that they hadn't had since 91. Maine also has 98 stolen bases. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yeah.
Wow. You got every talk about fleas. We call those fleas. Talk about this Maine Black Bear team and why should I buy into the AE? The AE?
Jeremiah Jenkins is the first America East player with 20 plus home runs in a season since 1998. And also the first America East player with 75 plus home runs since 1997. And then Quinn McDaniel and Jake Reynes are the first along with Jeremiah Jenkins, make it the first trio of America East teammates to have at least 16 home runs in one season. McDaniel also has a .510 on base percentage with 38 swipes on the season. So they hit bombs and they steal bags. What's more fun than that?
I kind of love them, dude. I kind of love them. I think I know and they treated us well in college basketball season too. So, all right, the Texas Longhorns, the filthy whores that they are, never happy. They're like I've always said, Texas University is like the girlfriend that's never happy. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. They can get the bigger part of the Big 12 deal. Still gonna bitch. Oh, we got our Longhorn network. Still gonna bitch. All right. There's nothing they can do. They'll never be happy. So you better believe I would love, and I got to be honest, system play. I'm taking the Raging Cajuns. I am taking the Raging Cajuns. I get it though. Texas has been loaded. They're 15th defensively in the nation. They're just they're Texas. They can afford to buy everybody. Everyone, you know what I mean? Like they're bigger. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the assholes. But why are you buying into the Texas Longhorns to come out of this area? Because I feel like you might be.
Well, that's one way to look at it is they had the money to rebuild this season because they lost a lot from a year ago, but they still have a 1-2 punch in the starting rotation and Lucas Gordon named the Big 12 pitcher of the year with a 2.48 ERA, 85 strikeouts, a 6-1 record in 14 starts this season. And then behind him, you have LeBaron Johnson Jr., who's 7-3 with a 2.82 ERA, 10.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. And then Dylan Campbell is riding the longest hitting streak in Texas baseball history at 33 games. And he has at least one hit in 43 of his last 47 games.
Well, the Raging Cajuns are 40-22 in the Sun Belt. All right, out of the Sun Belt, I should say.
Solid.
And this team, they're good, man. 161 stolen bases. Everyone's fucking Ricky Henderson on this team. All right. So, this is their first at-large selection since 2013. I'm telling you, the wager's being placed.
Okay.
Come on, Raging Cajuns.
Hating on Miami and Texas.
Come on, Raging Cajuns.
See them win.
Am I a maniac? Am I burning money?
So they don't really have a star on the staff, but as a whole, they have a 4.75 ERA, which is pretty good. And then on offense, the Raging Cajuns, they had 2 all Sun Belt Conference performers in Kyle DeBarge and Julian Brock. DeBarge had a 371 average and a 991 OPS, 17 steals, while Brock is hitting 318 with a 1016 OPS. So solid duo on the offense there.
There we go. I like that angle. Let's talk about, Stanford Regional, Palo Alto. It's just boring. You know what I mean? It's just a boring place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna drop acid or something like that. Anyway,
hear what San Jose State's doing?
Are they dropping acid? What's happening?
go read what I texted or put in this doc for you there. I mean, San Jose State's doing something pretty cool here.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's the free ticket. Okay, I like that. Right, they're
Yeah.
doing the free ticket thing, right? I can dig that. I can dig that. But so Stanford, private school pussies, we know that. They're 38-16 though. They're pretty damn good. This is one of the sports apparently they care about. They don't really care about basketball or football, at least since Jim Harbaugh left. And look, they've hosted the last 6 tournaments, right? I mean, last year was what, UConn and Stanford, I believe, that went toe. That was like a crazy
That was
game.
in the Super Regional. They hosted Texas State the weekend before, and they had some thrillers as well.
Yeah, I remember those games being pretty wild from a year ago. And the Cardinals won 11 of their last 14 games and have a 78-22 record in games played at Sunken Diamond, baby. But I mean, and the Cardinal has been the back-to-back College World Series in 21 and 22. So there's that going. Experienced is the key word there. Stanford's offense is 13th in the nation, scoring 8.6 runs per game. Meanwhile, San Jose State, come on, Sparty. Let's go. All right. Mountain West season and tournament champs. This is their first appearance at an NCAA regional since 2002. How old were you then, Noah?
Well, at that time, I wasn't even 1 yet. I was born in 01 in July, and we're talking June in 02.
Wow.
So
Sparty's back, baby. And look, obviously we know that Stanford doesn't draw the big crowd. All right.
This is cool.
San Jose is not that far, folks. If you're not familiar, I mean, I live in Los Angeles, California, and I have been up there. I have been to Palo Alto, and it is not that far from San Jose. Maybe there's a chance, and like we mentioned a minute ago, the athletic department announced that the first 200 San Jose State students that show up will be getting in free. Let's go. Let's steal this home field advantage. Let's steal this home field advantage from those private school pussies.
In the opposing stadium.
Let's go. So you got Sparty there, and then the 2-3 is A&M at the 2 spot. Like we just mentioned prior in the episode, A&M, great SEC tournament that somehow salvaged their season. They got in, and they're going to be taking on Cal State Fullerton. Fullerton, obviously, you know, it's been a name in college baseball, I feel like, for a little while here, and they gave Stanford all they could handle during the first weekend, but finished the season, I'm sorry, on a 3-9 skid. Do we worry about the Titans? What do you make of this region? Talk to me about all 4 of these teams.
Yeah, I don't like what I've seen from Fullerton in the last couple of weeks of this season. Really kind of hit a major skid. So Texas A&M, they've come in a little bit hotter than Fullerton. Jack Moss, he was named to the SEC All Conference team. He's hitting 361 with a 946 OPS. And then they have a super freshman in Jace Laviolette, who's one dinger and 2 steals shy of a 2020 season, which would be absolutely incredible for a freshman in the SEC. And then on the mound, Evan Ashenbach is great in the pen, but there are a lot of capable pieces that start games that may have just unlocked a new ceiling in Hoover this past week. It was like their best week ever for their pitching staff this season. It's my biggest question mark about this team, and still a wait and see for me. Was it a positive blip in the radar, or is it just mostly a bad season? And then the 1 seed Stanford, you know, David Esker just won his 2nd straight Pac-12 Coach of the Year, and then Alberto Rios was named Pac-12 Player of the Year, becoming the first Cardinal to win the award since Jed Lowry in 2004. Rios is hitting 403 with a 1266 OPS. Then Tommy Troy, he was this year's regular season Pac-12 batting champ, highest average in the conference with a 394 average, currently 1180 OPS. On the pitching side of things, they also had the best pitcher in the Pac-12 conference this year in Quinn Matthews. He was 7-4 with a 387 ERA, 124 strikeouts, and 100 innings pitched. The cool story about San Jose State here is head coach Brad Sanfilippo. He's at the helm of this team, and that was basically in the middle of the road in most statistics. But baseball, you know, the games aren't won on paper. It's on the field, and I think the coaching job here was really impressive to win both the regular season and conference tournament. So naturally, he won Mountain West Coach of the Year. The starting rotation's nothing special, but Southpaw reliever Jack White It was named on the all-conference first team, and then up the middle, their shortstop and second base, one of the best two players on this team, and Theo Hardy and Charles McAdoo. So.
I like it. And, this one, come on, San Jose State. Come on, San Jose State. I
3-4 seeds in a row for you.
I just love the little brother angles that we get to see this weekend. So, and speaking of that, in the Baton Rouge Regional at Alex Box Stadium, you get the green wave, the red hot green wave.
Okay.
19 and 40. All right. As they take on, they go, look, if you've been in New Orleans or if you've been to Baton Rouge, normally you have to fly in New Orleans and then take about a 45-minute or an hour-long drive to Baton Rouge. I have done that, and it's close. That's what I'm saying. So LSU obviously is been amazing all year. All right. I feel like everyone, if you had to crown the regular season champ, they might be one of them, or a lot of people would say LSU. The offense has been incredible, absolutely incredible all year. They're second in on base percentage, fourth in runs, fifth in slugging percentage, sixth in scoring, yada, yada, yada. I could just go on and on and on about how great this offense is for the LSU Tigers. But meanwhile, there's a team an hour away that just beat the best team in college baseball. All right. Now, granted, it was a charity play, but by us. But
you punted the game. You allowed another team from your conference.
We were trying to get NC State out of it. But look, Tulane's 19 and 40. I repeat to the audience, Tulane is 19 and 40. But they're red hot. All right, they're red hot, and look. This is Tulane's 22nd all-time appearance in the NCAA regionals, first since 2016. This is another situation, much like Troy. These kids were not recruited by LSU, and you gotta this. There's always a chance for a fuck you moment when you have those, and I appreciate those. Even though this could get ugly, this like Troy's earned their spot. Tulane, it's just like you caught lightning in a bottle. Can you perhaps duplicate that? We'll see. But any chance Tulane makes it a game, Noah?
Yeah, there is, and I think they put up some runs on why am I'm blanking on the kid's name, but I'm trying to find the score from earlier this season when they played each other. This game was super close in a midweek game, and Thatcher Hurd is the kid's name, the pitcher for LSU. I mean, the whole narrative behind LSU is that they have Paul Skeens going on Fridays. They have Ty Floyd going on Saturdays. I'm trying to find the score of the game. But once you get you weather the storm against their two best arms, and then once you get into that bullpen or on a Sunday against one of those third or fourth starters, they are a little bit vulnerable. And I believe Tulane put up like 5 runs on Thatcher Hurd earlier this season. So if they're able to do that again, I'm trying to find it. No, it was against Christian Little when they rocked him. They put up. So either way, Thatcher Hurd's probably going to start this game against LSU, which is why I was trying to look for it. But
Tulane green wave.
It's easy to see a time turn.
He's been pitching his best game, or he's had 2 really good outings in a row, I guess you could say, his best of the season. But LSU, a lot of star power on this team. Dylan Cruz, Tommy White, already mentioned Paul Skeens. The trio of those 3 players is just something that no team in college baseball can match. And it's going to be tough for Tulane.
Let's go green wave. Let's go green wave. All right. On the other side of this, I mean, I just get excited about all these matchups with little brother. You got the Oregon State Beavers.
Nice Beaver.
Look, I mean, we got some big fans of the show that are Oregon State Beaver fans that jump in the chat. They're already talking college football and college baseball. Yeah.
Me backing them big time last year had a big role on that. I was maybe a little bit too homerish on my one pick last year.
Well, we gained fans, so you play to your audience, buddy. And the Beavs, They've won 13 of their last 18 games. I know they didn't win the Pac-12 tournament, but
season.
Yeah, they're scoring 10.6 runs per game during that span. The bats are hot. I know it's a young team.
It is.
But hey, the bats are hot. You're getting better as the season goes along. They're taking on Sam Houston State, who was 38-23. They are the WAC tournament champions. I watched that game against Grand Canyon where Sam Houston just put up a shit ton of points early on in that game, a shit ton of runs early on in that game.
We won't talk about Grand Canyon. They were my dark horse preseason pick to make the College World Series. We won't talk about them.
I know. I was watching that game and I didn't wager on it, but I was like, Grand Canyon, I know is the team to beat here. And then early in that game, Sam Houston just opened that thing up. And look, they haven't made a regional since 2017 when they upset the Red Raiders. And shout out to Go Bearcats, our friend of the program, who is a big Sam Houston State fan. Mm-hmm. Hey, they've done it before. They got the 13th best batting average in the nation. Talk to me about Oregon State, Sam Houston State, Noah, and I know we're not making picks, but maybe give us a little bit of a lean.
So the sophomore from Australia, Travis Bazzana for Oregon State, is one of the best players on the West Coast. Bazzana's hitting 379 with an 1149 OPS, 75 runs scored, 53 ribbies, 36 bags, and 10 blasts. True 5-tool player there. And then the Beavs, they also have one of the best closers in the West in Ryan Brown, who's got a 3.45 ERA, 10 saves with a 6.2 strikeout to walk ratio. And for Sam Houston State, they have a duo of hitters with averages above 400 and OPS above 1,000, Tyler Davis and Joe Redfield. Davis has 64 runs scored, 59 ribs with 13 stolen bases. And then Redfield has scored 76 times with 51 RBIs and 15 bags himself. So going to be really fun. I think this one might end up high scoring. And if it does, I think it favors Sam Houston State because that's more their style of ball.
Uh-oh. Don't tell our friends. Don't tell our Beaver friends. All right, let's jump over to the Lexington Regional in Kentucky Proud Park. I did see some hilarious tweets about this because apparently you're supposed to have like 3 hotels that are by each spot that's going to host a regional.
There's a whole checklist that you have to have in order
apparently
to be
they want to know how Lexington got the pass. I saw some speculation of this. Yeah. As someone that's been there, I'm curious too. I mean, set up shot, like tents, glamping. I don't know what's happening, but Kentucky, what I can tell you is Kentucky had a great season, and this region is going to be a fucking ton of fun. You got the Kentucky Wildcats 36-18 in the SEC, or regular season. Obviously, they were in the SEC. They were an at-large bid. It's the 3rd time in program history that Kentucky has been selected as a host. So, and the first time they'll be hosting at Kentucky Proud Park. Kentucky has the number 1 strength of schedule, number 2 RPI, and against that competition, they have the nation's 18th best ERA and 22nd in the nation in WHIP. So they're going to be taking on ball. Well, first, let me give. Got to give some love to the Kentucky Wildcats. They're going to be taking on the 4 seed, the Ball State Cardinal from Muncie, Indiana. You're not going to get Muncie out in the middle of nowhere, are you, when you head to Lexington? Wow, this is their first time since 2006 that the Cardinals will be making the NCAA regional appearance. And Ball State has hit 88 dingers this year, baby, which is good for 42nd in the country. And the question is, will the big ballpark swallow up their strength against the rest of the pool? Maction, baby. Always got to watch out for Maction. And then you got, I know Moneyline Mac was talking about the Mountaineers, who have been a success story in the Big 12 that came out of nowhere.
Morgantown, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Morgantown, WP.
Morgantown WV. Look, the Mountaineers have lost 5 games in a row entering the NCAA tournament. I mean, they were on fire, and all of a sudden, they got a hold of some of that Morgantown meth, and things happened. All right. Nevertheless, they're in the tournament for the 3rd time under head coach Randy Mazey. I mean, this team has been fun to watch, though. I've caught them a couple times this year. I caught them when they played Marshall, with the Thundering Herd. They've been a fun story because I feel like they're not known for their baseball. Talk to me about West Virginia, and then look, they're going to be squaring off against the Indiana Hoosiers, who are 41-18. You're a Big Ten guy, Noah, so maybe you and Moneyline Mac have a wager on the lines here. The Hoosiers just had their 6th 40th win season in program history, and Jeff Mercer, this will be his 2nd trip to a regional with the Indiana Hoosiers. They're scoring about 8 runs per game, 7.78 runs per game this season. That's 44th in all the land. West Virginia is going to beat their ass, right? Are you going to represent your Big Ten? What are you doing?
No, I'm probably on West Virginia here. I want to go back to the storyline that you talked about with, the Railbird Music Festival, which is a country music festival in Lexington. I can't talk. In Lexington, Kentucky this season. I don't know if you've heard of him, probably not, but Zach Bryan is like one of the biggest country acts out there right now. So this place is going to be an absolute zoo because, one, you got the Railbird Country Music Festival hosting one of the biggest acts in country music. You got the Lexington Regional that Kentucky's hosting. Then they're also hosting high school baseball and softball championships this weekend in Lexington, Kentucky, playing at some minor league stadium down the road, and then Kentucky's softball stadium. So and this place is going to be a madhouse.
Look, I'm no country music guy, but I know Stagecoach is here. People get fucked up. People get fucked up at country music shows. So this should be, and people just get fucked up in Kentucky naturally. You know what I mean? You got the Bourbon Trail not far away. Yeah, like naturally Kentucky is a low key get fucked up state. You know, I know people think Nevada or Florida, California as some of the real get fucked up states, but underrated, get fucked up place, Kentucky.
And Mac wants to call the Lexington regional the Bring Your Toothbrush and Air Mattress Regional, by the way.
True. And look,
some of these kids are going to be staying in bunk beds this weekend in the dorm rooms.
They're not even going to need the fucking air mattress. They're going to be so liquored up, you just sleep on the ground. I've done that before. ECU, I woke up in the bushes once or twice. This one's gonna be a lot of fun. What talk to me about what you got a sleeper here? You think Dub V might be able to do it in Lexington?
Yeah, I do think West Virginia is probably early reaction. I think they're one of my favorites in this pool. West Virginia arguably has one of the best players in the country in JJ Weatherholt. The sophomore is going to be a finalist for the Golden Spikes Award this year. He's hitting .443 with a 1290 OPS, 15 tanks, 35 stolen bags, and 66 runs scored. And then in the rotation, the Mountaineers have a solid 1-2 punch with Blaine Traxel and Ben Hampton. Traxel's been one of my favorite pitchers to watch this season. He's funky. He's got a body that reminds myself of me and an arm angle that reminds myself of me. He's 7-5 on the year with a 3.79
David Wells
ERA.
2.0.
He's just 1 out shy of 100 innings pitched this season. And then Hampton behind him, he's 5-3 with a 4.17 ERA. So I really like that 1-2 punch that West Virginia has.
And you see in the chat right now, Durko saying, I got the Mountaineers to win the Natty at plus, what is that? Plus 20,000?
Like 200 to 1. Yeah.
Is that 200? No, is that 2? Yeah, I can't tell from watching the screen here, but look, they were a nice cash cow before that 5-game losing streak. Let's go, Durko. Let's go. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I can't wait. This weekend's going to be awesome. I cannot wait, folks. All right. Well, let's talk about the Auburn Regional at Plainsman Park. Storyline here is, both Auburn and Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles got some of that Brett Favre blood money, right? Maybe some of it funneled into the baseball, right? But both teams reached the Super Regionals last year. And this is Scott Berry's final season as the head coach of the Golden Eagles. Fly high in any weather. He started with the program as an assistant, has been with Southern Miss since 2001. So he's like Jeff Bauer, longtime football coach for a long time. but in baseball form down there in Hattiesburg. Look, the 1 seed is the Auburn Tigers, right? Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas. You can go on and on and on about the Auburn Tigers. Butch Thompson gives Scott Berry a run for his money as best head coach in this regional conversation. And the Tigers have attended 2 of the last 4 college World Series. The Tigers have scored 7.37 runs per game so far this year. Auburn, they play good baseball there. It's going to be very interesting to see as they're going to take on the Ivy League regular season and tournament champs, Penn. The Quakers, baby. This is Penn's first NCAA tournament appearance since 1995. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's like when the video game Doom came out. All right. When the Quakers lost to Auburn in that regional as well. So damn if it's not 28 years later and you draw the same team. All right. I'm rooting for some magic out of the Ivy League with those private school pussies. The Quakers have the best team batting average and ERA in the regional with, I don't want to break down the numbers, but it's impressive for Ivy League too. They don't have scholarships, right? They're just there.
I'm sure they have some scholarships.
I thought their athletic department doesn't do scholarships. They have like these partial things, right? They're kind of just like a student lucky to be in the Ivy League.
That sounds like most baseball programs anyways. You only get 11.7 total scholarships to spread around. So,
well, especially at Penn, I feel like at Penn, you're just there. Hey, I see you're good. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Southern Miss, though, is a team that I like. I watch Southern Miss. I love their home environment. I know this isn't at home, but look, this is the 19th time in program history they're in the NCAA regionals, and I'm buying into the Rocky Balboa story. Scott Berry, let's go. They got one of the best on base percentages in the whole regional. So, talk to me about why Southern Miss is going to win this thing. I know Samford is also in there. Shout out to Samford out of the SoCon. That's their 4th trip to the NCAA tournaments, and they have the most home runs and highest slugging percentage in the Auburn Regional with 99 dingers. Talk to me about why Southern Miss, though, is going to come out of this region.
Well, for one, it's kind of like the best story of college baseball season for the postseason here is Scott Berry. It's his last regular season or season coaching Southern Miss in his career. So he'll be stepping away after this season. They've been rolling since he announced that. So it was kind of, maybe a nice little move from the head coach to get his guys to start picking it up their game. And I mean, like you mentioned, they won the regular season and the they won the regular season. No, sorry. They won the conference tournament for the Sun Belt. My apologies. But they have the best pitcher in the regional with Tanner Hall. He's 12-3 with a 2.23 ERA, 109 strikeouts in 97 innings, and Hall is holding his opponents to a 194 batting average. And then the top 7 hitters in this lineup for the Golden Eagles have an on-base percentage of 335 or higher. So they're getting on base and they're putting pressure on the opposing pitching staffs. Auburn, the host here, Bryson Ware leads the team in OPS with a 1190, and Ware has hit 24 home runs, 64 RBI, and a 356 batting average this season. Freshman Ike Irish behind him leads the team in batting average with a 364 average, 50 RBIs. After losing their ace Joseph Gonzalez this season, Tommy Vale has stepped in to fill that role. He's 5-1 with a 346 ERA. And then remember what happened with Auburn last year. They lost their ace, but they still ended up going to Omaha. Butch Thompson is a great coach. You mentioned Penn going to Stanford. Samford, their ace is Jacob Cravey. He's 9-2 with a 3.12 ERA, 121 strikeouts. The lineup has 7 guys with at least 30 RBI. John Anderson leads the team with 60 of them, and then 22 home runs with a 1028 OPS. I'm with you though. Like early on, I kind of like Southern Miss to get out of here. I really like this story, and I think they're rolling right now.
Let's go. All right. I know we got to speed things up a little bit. I've been talking out of my ass too much. All right. Clemson Regional going on. This one's interesting. You got Clemson 43-17 in the ACC. You got the Fighting Clits, the CLTs. Charlotte 49ers are in the mix. They're the 3 seed. So it goes Clemson as the 1, Tennessee as the 2. Shout out to Tennessee. Obviously last year, the most hated team in America as they're putting on fur coats and talking a ton of shit. I kind of love them. I like to think they're the Ric Flair of college baseball. But then you have the Clits, like I mentioned, the CLT Charlotte, their 7th NCAA regional appearance. And then Lipscomb, Lipscomb out of nowhere. The Bison have hit 99 home runs this season, putting them as 20th in the nation. Talk to me about this region. Who do you like? Or I guess tomorrow we're picking. Yeah. But any of those matchups, like Clemson's taking on Lipscomb, Tennessee at Charlotte. Is there one that you like to see more than the other?
This regional, I just completely nickname it the Fighting Clits Regional because you have Charlotte who play with clit across their jersey, but Clemson's logo is a C, Lipscomb's is an L, and Tennessee's is a T. So you got Beautiful. Clit versus CLT. In general, this regional, it's murderer's row for the Tigers, who are the 4th overall seed in the country. They've won 17 games in a row under Eric Bakich in his first year at the helm. Clemson has the highest batting average in the regional with a 305. That's good for 26th in the country as well. Lipscomb come from a really good A-Sun this season. It's their 3rd tournament appearance. They've hit 99 home runs this season. That's 20th in the country. The Tennessee Volunteers are also known for the long ball. They've hit the 5th most in the country with 114, but their pitching staff is really, really good as well. They lead the regional in ERA, whip, strikeouts, least amount of walks, and runs against. And then with Charlotte, this team, they're making their 7th NCAA regional appearance and 2nd in the last 3 years. They make their opposing pitching staffs work. They capitalize on mistakes. Charlotte is 9th in the country with 343 walks, and they also have 90 bombs. So they are hitting the opposing team's mistakes hard.
As you see, Lane in the chat's asking if Charlotte's a good dark horse here.
So I think they have one really good weekend this season. That's my opinion on this team. And it's either Clemson or Tennessee for me.
So Grice, don't buy into the Fighting Clits, essentially.
We're taking the other 3 CLT teams over the one CLT team, in my opinion. Caden Grice for Clemson is an absolute superstar on the mound and at the plate. As a starting pitcher, he's 8-1 with a 3.25 ERA, 13.4 strikeout per 9, and his opponents are only hitting 195 against him. And then in his batting in the batter's box, he's had a batting average of 302. So I think that's a win-win. He's doing better in the box against opponents than the opponents are doing against him on the mound. He's got a 10.05 OPS, 16 home runs, 63 RBI, and then for Tennessee, the biggest name on this really good pitching staff for the Vols is Chase Dolander. He has 13.2 strikeouts per 9 innings, but he's just 6-6 with a 4.28 ERA. In general, the star pitchers for Tennessee just have not lived up to their ceilings, but they're still, you would consider them dangerous here in the postseason, and they have a really, really good bullpen behind them. On offense, Jared Dickey has been the mainstay and leader for them with a 343 batting average. And I mentioned that Lipscomb, they're really good from an A-Sun conference. Keep an eye on game 1 against Clemson because Logan Van Treek is on the mound. He's their ace, 350 ERA, 8-4 record, 101 strikeouts, and 80.1 innings. He's a stud. They're live.
I can't wait for Friday. I cannot wait for Friday. Gainesville. Noah, we know, the audience should know if you've been listening to us for a long time that you're a Florida Gator fan, which is pretty filthy, but I'll give you the floor here because they're the ones either taking on Florida A&M, who I was referencing earlier for the XFL biting their uniforms. But Florida A&M 29-28, but it don't matter. You're in the postseason. Look, you still had a winning season. Fuck it. But then you have on the other side UConn, who I was really impressed with last year. Like I alluded to earlier, UConn Stanford was a fucking game. Yeah. Could UConn? They were 43-50. I know it's the Big East, which isn't a haven for great baseball, but still, they're taking on Texas Tech. Remember, Sonny Dykes played some ball at Texas Tech baseball back in the day, and Texas Tech's an at-large out of the Big 12. They've been a fun story. I watched that, and I know you were on the other side of that one when Texas Tech battled back. Oh man, what a fucking game that was, man. That was an unbelievable game. I saw you live
tweeting about it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, he's on the other side of this one."
Oh yeah, I had to look. You know me. Fuck all those schools that are responsible for this change with everyone joining conferences. We're gonna have Hawaii in the Big Ten. We're 5 years away from Hawaii in the Big Ten. So I've been saying. Okay. San Diego State's going to be in the SEC. It's just going to be stupid. Talk to me about this region a little bit though before we jump into the Columbia region, because I know we got to speed it up. But talk to me why your Gators are going to come out of here.
Yeah, so on paper, This is a favorable draw for Florida, but the Gators have not advanced in 4 straight regional appearances, and they've hosted 2 of those. So choking kind of is in the DNA for Florida baseball in the decade of 2020. This is the Gators' 15th consecutive NCAA tournament berth under head coach Kevin O'Sullivan, and it's the second longest streak in the country. The Gators, they have the 4th most home runs in the country with 116. Just like Clemson's Caden Grice, we have a guy in just like him, and Jack Caglione. He's a 2-way superstar as well. Cags has the second most bombs in the country at 28, and he's hitting 349 with an 1199 OPS, 76 strikeouts, and 65 runs scored. And then on the mound, he has the best ERA out of any of Florida's starters with a 4.14. He has 75 strikeouts and 63 innings. Then the Gators, they have 4 hitters with both an average over 300 and OPS over 1,000. And Wyatt Langford, he's the leader of that group. He's going to be a future top 3 pick in the MLB draft. Florida A&M, I think they're probably the worst team in the field this year. No offense to the Rattlers, but
what about the Green Wave, huh?
No, I think Tulane's actually better. Even though they have 19 wins, they came from a better conference, and they stormed through that conference tournament. UConn, I'm not a huge believer in them this season. Usually they are known for their pitching. This year they don't quite have that. They usually have an elite starting rotation. Their best guy this year is Stephen Quigley with a 4.75 ERA, and he has less strikeouts than he has innings pitched in a bad Big East conference.
Quigley down under, baby.
On offense, Dominic Freeberger, maybe one of the best names in the country. He's also pretty good at the plate with a 349 average, 60 RBIs, 57 runs scored. Sorry. Talking about home runs, Gavin Cash, he's tied for 8th in the country with 24 long shots for Texas Tech, 81 RBIs, which is tied for 5th in the country. So Texas Tech, they also have probably the best pitcher in this regional in Mason Molina. The sophomore southpaw is 5-2 with a 3.72 ERA, 98 strikeouts, and 77.1 innings pitched. So, there's your 4 teams in the field.
There you go. And we're going to jump over to now the Columbia Regional. Look, I just came back from Columbia. Don't take NC State.
They're going down in the South America here.
Yeah, look, South Carolina, the Gamecocks, they've been a fun story all year, but obviously 4-11 down the stretch struggles. They're the 1 seed, the 4 seed, Central Connecticut State, the Blue Devils, I think, not Blue Demons, Blue Devils, if memory serves me correct.
Blue Devils.
4th appearance since 2017. What the hell's happened in the state of Connecticut? They got UConn, Central Connecticut. What's happening? They're the NEC champs. They'll be taking on South Carolina. And then you got the team that I really like. I got to watch them beat ECU earlier this year, and I just watched them over the weekend beat the shit out of South Carolina Upstate, the 2 seed in the Big South. The Camels, 44-13. And I know they have labeled themselves the nobodies from nowhere, which I can get behind. What are they? Blues Creek, North Carolina. They got the highest scoring offense in the country with 9.91 runs per game, and they're taking on NC State. So there's no way that NC State beats them. So give me Campbell to come out of this. I know we're saving it till tomorrow, but I'm just saying, my eyes light up when I see the Camels taking on NC State. Talk to me about this region. Keep it brief, because we still got like 5 more of these things before we get out of here, and we got to get out of here pretty soon.
Yeah, I like Campbell here as well. I really like the NCAA may have just poked the bear in Campbell, because, like you mentioned, nobody's from nowhere. They had a kid literally.
I'm not hearing you right now, buddy. Did we lose you? In the middle of this Campbell talk, the disrespect to the Camels continues with Noah talk. I don't hear you. You're on mute, I think. There you go. You're back. I think
I didn't place myself on mute. That was weird.
I think it's on the handle of the mic. And I think you accidentally muted yourself there. But okay. Continue on about the disrespect of the Camels, because you accidentally just disrespected them yourself.
Yeah, they had a kid sitting in the front row of their regional watch party with our cardboard sign saying nobody's. So I think they really just poked the bear. The NCAA did. Cade Cooler, he's been absolutely dominant on the mound for them this season with an 8-0 record.
Fucking drink at the bars there. I'll take a Cade Cooler. Let's go, baby.
Dude,
Continue.
he deserves it. He's 8-0 with a 2.82 ERA, 87 strikeouts, and 67 innings pitched. He's holding opponents to just a 191 average. And then on offense, the Campbells, they're an absolute nightmare at the plate and on the base paths for opposing pitching staffs. In my eyes, there isn't one individual standout. They're all dangerous. This team has a 319 team batting average, which is ninth, 442 on base percentage, which is first, 567 slug, which is second, 114 home runs, which is fifth, and they've stolen 129 bases. That's eighth. So good luck to the Columbia Regional here.
Let's go.
NC State, they have a a quartet of pitchers as starting pitchers there that they really rely on, and Matt Wilson, Dom Fritton, Logan Whitaker, and Sam Heifel. And then South Carolina, South Carolina, one starter in Jack Mahoney that you need to watch out for. 6-2, 373 ERA, but this offense has really gone cold lately. So
I was always a Captain Harris or Tackleberry guy. Fuck Mahoney. Yeah. Okay. Look, Conway, South Carolina. Man, Brooks Stadium, the teal turf, baby. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers. They're down there in Myrtle Beach. All right. They're the 1 seed. They're taking on Ryder, the moving company. Hey, there we go. Moving company won the MAAAC. Get their insurance. And then look, Duke taking on UNC Wilmington. That's fun. UNC Wilmington needs to start their football program as well. But I love the fact that Wilmington gets a chance to beat the big brother or one of the big brothers in those private school pussies. Wilmington, they haven't been since 2019. You think they got a chance at knocking off the Blue Devils?
I think they do. Duke, they have the tendency to, start slow in some games with their offense. But shout out to my guy, Alex Mooney. He's got I think he's like top 5 in the nation in runs scored for Duke. And it's been really cool to see a guy. I remember talking about him last year. He's from my area, one of the best players I've actually played against, from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And they've got a couple of kids. That Irish kid from Auburn that I mentioned, and also they have Nolan Schubert at Oklahoma State. That high school was tremendous.
Okay, then we got the Charlottesville region. They got the private school pussies. I know Virginia's public school, but it's basically private school pussies. Those tiki torch lighting fucking losers, those wahoos that never show up for sports because they're a bunch of fucking losers. Look, the Cavaliers are a top 8 national seed for the 5th time since 2010, which is going to make it so much better. But watch out, because the Army Black Knights are 38-16 in the Patriot League. And look, as a guy that sat in here in this very studio that I'm in Los Angeles, I watched a few Army Navy games, and I think I caught Army and somebody else this year. Army's good. They're good. Watch out for the Black Knights. They're making their 6th straight NCAA tournament appearance. All right, never fade the United States of America. And then you have the 2 seed. Well, best team in all of college baseball. ECU going to be taking on the filthy Oklahoma Sooners. I know Oklahoma lost to Texas Tech in a terrible way, but I cannot wait to take on the Sooners, who got in at large under Skip Johnson. And look, I mean, should we just cash your bets right now on ECU?
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina. You don't come to East Carolina. You don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write
it, baby. Noah, why is ECU going to win this thing?
Oh, well, I mean, they've been struggling as of late, and I do have a future on them. I think it's like 65-1 that I have them at, but they're making me a little nervous right now. The Pirates, their team ERA though on the year, it's a 4.27, which is 27th in the country, and they're 5th in runs allowed per game with just 4.5. But that pitching staff hasn't looked like it. And I mean, they literally just gave up 12 runs to Tulane, 9 runs to Tulane in the championship game of the American there. And honestly, throughout the week, they looked a little bit shaky. But it was nice to see some signs of this East Carolina offense waking up, because that's what was something that I was counting on throughout the rest of the season, that they would eventually pick it up. That's what ECU does every year, year in and year out. And speaking of, this is going to be their 3rd time that they've faced Virginia in the last 7 tournaments. East Carolina won the regional back in 2016 at Charlottesville. year, the 2022 Greenville Regional included Virginia, and they beat them there. So this has to be absolute nightmare fuel for Virginia here, who's a top 8 national seed. And they have the best team batting average in the country with a 334 and the 5th best team ERA at 382. But East Carolina has kind of been in their nightmares in recent seasons. And then you're talking about Oklahoma, who's just the runner-up in last year's College World Series. So tough to sleep on them. And then when Army, they have the 22nd best batting average in the country with a 306, 15th best team ERA at 413. Yeah. Army's like no slouch in this regional either. This is a this is a tough regional. But then if you look at this coastal regional above us, Coastal, Duke, UNCW, if ECU can get by this regional, this is their toughest obstacle to get to Omaha. It's going to be their easiest super regional they've ever had get to Omaha. So if you can get past this regional in Charlottesville, I think you get to Omaha for the first time ever.
Oh, let's fucking go. All right, let's go to Nashville, where Vanderbilt 41-18 SEC tournament champs. You guys laughed at me when I said that. They're blue blood when beginning of the year. I remember that. All right.
It's just the amount of championships, the amount of Omaha appearances. It just doesn't. It's been a dynasty over.
Only won the SEC. I could have swore, there was some other talk of other SEC schools that were going to win the SEC, but the blue blood, blood won.
Florida won.
Yeah, but not when it mattered most. All right. Well, I don't know if that makes the case. Yes, shout out to Matthew Alston, who says, "Let's go Pirates." Noah, you might have muted yourself again. I'm not sure. I don't hear you. You are muted, but we will get over to the Nashville region, which Vanderbilt's taking out Eastern Illinois. Tony Romo's alma mater. Let's fade them. Then you have the 2 and 3 seeds. You got the Oregon Ducks, who won the Pac-12 at 37-20, taking on the Xavier Musketeers, Big East tournament champions. How did they pull that one off? At 37-23, I kind of think Oregon will. I think this is going to go chalk. I think Oregon's going to play Vandy. Noah, are you back with us or no?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
All right. Cool.
But this region, it's going to go chalk. It's in, this is a home game. This is a home game. For Vandy. Yeah. But Vandy's going to take care of business. None of these,
Xavier's somewhat close, but I can understand what you're saying, that Eastern Illinois is not going to travel and Oregon's miles away. For this regional, though, Vanderbilt has hosted Oregon and Xavier in the same regional before in 2014. And I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. The Commodores, they have the best team.
Okay, now I don't hear you. Hey, what is happening here? Now I'm getting a crazy sound out of your mic, and I'm going to turn you off, Noah. Noah, stop talking. Stop talking, buddy. I don't know what that sound is, but anyway, yes. So then we have the Terre Haute region. Terre Haute, I forget how to pronounce that in Indiana, but that has Indiana State as a 1 seed, Iowa as a 2 seed, North Carolina as a 3 seed, and Wright State as a 4 seed. Then you have the Stillwater region, which has Oklahoma State, Dallas Baptist, Washington, the Huskies making it, and Oral Roberts at Summit League champions. What is happening here? If you're watching us on YouTube, I apologize, and we'll go back to this as I don't know what the hell happened. That guy's been watching too much porn. But anyway, here we are, folks, and yeah, we got those regions, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. Also, the Fayetteville region. Don't forget about the Arkansas Razorbacks. Remember, we had that fan pick up a fucking raccoon last time and just lift it up and get the standing O last year. Always got to root for the Razorbacks. They'll be taking on Santa Clara out of the WCC, the 4 seed, and then TCU. Great story with TCU. And pals with the athletic director at TCU, so I'll be rooting for them as they take on the Arizona Wildcats, who some say are fortunate to be there. Folks, subscribe to the College Baseball Experience, and I apologize for the audio problems. We will not have those same problems as the tomorrow's episode and going forward. So subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. I apologize for all that good stuff. So do that. Get the SGPN app for free in the App Store and Google Play Store. Give Noah Bieniek a follow on Twitter at 77NB, and give myself a follow on Twitter at the Colby D. And hopefully you're subscribed on YouTube and all that good stuff, because the season is in full swing right now, baby. The road to Omaha starts this week. We'll be back tomorrow to pick games. This is the College Baseball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
When I spit my darts, you get ripped apart. Save the cookie cutter mother for 106 apart.